Hello and welcome back to the Introduction to Graphical Programming course. Today we are going to be looking at comments. So let's get started. Let's click on the comments lesson, and we've got a fairly sizable program here. Take a look at this, run it and see if you can figure out what it's doing. Well, it's drawing a face. That's awesome. But this lesson's about comments. So what are comments? Well, comments are things that we can put into the code that the computer will ignore. And you might be thinking, well, if the computer's going to ignore them, why would I put them into the code? Well, let's take a look at this face. Say I wanted to modify this face here and I wanted to add some color to it, which we've learned about. How am I going to do that? How would I update the eyes here to be a different color? Well, it would be a bit tricky because which of these circles here is actually drawing the eyes? Now, we can figure it out, but wouldn't it be great if there were comments here telling me what bit of code did what? And so comments are really helpful for humans to understand what the program's doing. And sometimes your code is self kind of explaining. It tells you, you can read the code and understand what it's doing. But here's an example where it's really difficult, and so comments would be really helpful. So let's see if we can add some comments in here, and I'll show you how to do that. So first of all, the background command, we don't need a comment to explain what that's doing because background's pretty self-explanatory. Let's move on to this next one. Now, I imagine that this one here is the face, but let's see, we want to give it like a skin color. So if I just Google this kind of skin color, I don't know what's going to come up here. And skin color RGB, because we want the RGB values. And look at this. Oh, we've got here some interesting skin color tones. Oh, error there. Okay, let's not use that one. Let's try looking at some of these. Now remember, we need the RGB version of these. So here we go. 229.194.152. Let's try that. So I'm going to go back over here, change this to 229.194.152. 194.152 and start. Hey, we've got color. So this was the whole face. So what would be helpful here is if I put a comment. Now comments in Python begin with the hash, which on most keyboards is Shift-3, hey? And then I can just write face. And there we go, there's a comment that really tells me that these next lines of code draw the face. Cool, all right, so now there's two circles here, so maybe these are the eyes. Let's see if that's true. And we could make these like a, let's change this to be like 200, 230, 200 and see what happens. Yeah, look at that little green eyes. So that's cool. And then this one, I imagine, because this, see here, the radius is only 4, so I imagine this is the pupils. So I'm going to say pupils, if I spell it right, pupils. And then the last one must be the mouth. And so now, if these comments were here at the start, it would be much easier for me to figure out what I need to update. If I want to give this, let's do another Google search, see if we can find mouth RGB colors. Here we go, 235, 181, 184. Let's try that. So I update the mouth, where we've got the fill here, chuck these colors in, and there we go, beautiful. The pupils, maybe I want more of a blue color. I could make these 0 red, 0 green, a lot of blue. Hey, all right, we're starting to make some progress. So now your challenge here is just to color in this face as you see fit. Maybe you want to add a nose, some hair, up to you, go wild, but really improve this and add the comments into the code so that if you come back to it in a week, you're really going to understand what's happening. Now, before I go, I just want to show you one other way that I use comments a lot. Now, say I am trying to change this eye color here. Now, at the moment, it's got this fill, 200, 230, 200. Now, if I want to change those, I could update these values directly, but then I would lose the old version of it. So what I sometimes do is I comment out this line and then copy the rest of the line and paste it below. So now I've got two versions of that, and I can update this one without any fear of losing my original one. So I change that and go, oh, that's no good. If I want to go back to my other one, I just delete this and uncomment that. So it's also a way when you're just programming on the fly to try out different versions of things and then just eventually keep the one you want. So, maybe, the eyes, it does need to be a bit more like white. So maybe I would go 240, 230 and 240. Well, that's a 140. What does that look like? Oh, no, I don't like that. 240. There we go. I think that looks good. So then I'm happy with that. So then I can get rid of this one. Or if I wanted to go back to it, I would uncomment it and get rid of the other line. But I think you get the idea. So remember, hopefully a lot of your code explains what is happening already. So set canvas size, background, we don't need to comment those because they're self-explanatory. But where it's not obvious, put a comment in and you'll really thank yourself later when you come back to it, say a week later, a month later, even a year later. It's really going to be good to help you understand what that code was doing or what you were even thinking at the time. Thanks for watching and see you in the next lesson.